Many thanks to our global audience for joining me on a Thursday evening for the next 20-odd minutes on Primetime News as we steer the current affairs ship. I'm Michael Madimba. Politics lead the bulletin tonight. President Dr. Hage Geingob has called on SWAPO party members to start gearing up for the 2024 general elections following the successful 7th Congress that elected the party's next leadership. Let's have a listen.
Then we are now ending this evening on a high note, that we have successfully exercised our internal party democracy, culminating today after we have already elected the Central Committee, now ending today with the elections of the political. Again, I didn't see any punches being thrown here. And people are maybe unhappy when we are losing, we are unhappy. But after we are going to take a glass of wine tonight, we will say, it was tough, but it's over. So that's what I'm telling you. Congratulations to all of you, and rest too. We have been around trying to find out, because party is Ziba, SWAPO is the party. Can you imagine the whole country was waiting to see what's going to happen? Are they going to fight? They are only open our fight. But they are happy too that in their country, the main governing ruling party is coming out after a long democratic exercise. Everyone. With that, I would like to thank you too, journalists. Thank all of the workers, those who started the process before. There were problems, but if you cannot self-correct, if you cannot admit a mistake and correct it, which we did, here we are today, ending this long process in a peaceful way. The whole hands to move away, Hari always says, in a Harambe way, in the same direction, pulling in the same direction to 2024.
Meanwhile, the SWAPO Party Secretary General Sophia Shaningwa says the country's ruling party is ready for the 2024 national elections. Linia Tishena filed this report.
We are very ready for 2024 elections. Very ready. Our president already charged us with the responsibility to get ready and to get down to our people already as early as possible, to start organizing ourselves and prepare ourselves towards 2024 elections. We are very ready.
Executive Director in the Ministry of Health and Social Services, Ben Nangombe, says cervical cancer is preventable and treatable, but remains one of the most common cancers in women worldwide, and the second most common type of cancer among Namibian women. Shelva Wills compiled this insert.
Cervical cancer is also the third most common cancer in women between the ages of 15 and 44. This was revealed in the capital on Wednesday by Ben Nangombe, Executive Director in the Ministry of Health and Social Services, during the handover of 2 million Namibian dollars raised by the Bankvintu Cancer Apple Project to the Cancer Association of Namibia. Nangombe stated that cancer is one of the 4 major non-communicable diseases, with cervical, breast, and prostate cancers ranking among the top 5. It accounts for nearly 70% of all deaths worldwide, with an increase of 67% in sub-Saharan Africa between 1990 and 2017. Namibia, he said, therefore supports the framework for cervical cancer prevention, noting that the National Strategy for Cervical Cancer Prevention will build on the cervical cancer prevention interventions included in the Namibia Non-Communicable Diseases Strategic Plan in order to ensure Namibia meets the 90-70-90 targets by 2030.
On to neighboring South Africa, where authorities on Wednesday released on parole Janusz Waller's, a far-right Polish immigrant who in 1993 assassinated anti-apartheid hero Chris Hani and nearly plunged the country into civil war. More from this insert.
His release, bitterly contested by groups that fought white minority rule, had been postponed after he was stabbed by a fellow inmate inside prison. The government said in a statement that Justice and Correctional Services Minister Ronald Lamola has placed Wallace on parole under strict conditions with effect from Wednesday. A spokesman confirmed that this meant the 69-year-old had been released in line with a decision by the Constitutional Court. The statement said that he will serve 2 years under community corrections in line with the parole regime upon which he is released. Last month's court decision was described as diabolical by Hani's apartheid-era ally, the South African Communist Party, which Hani had led. Hani's widow, Limpo, declined to comment when contacted by AFP on Wednesday.
This is what you can expect when we return with a business segment. In case you just joined us, this is Primetime Biz, and energy matters in neighboring Zimbabwe lead the segment. Now, when midnight strikes, most Zimbabweans jump out of bed to make stews, iron their clothes or collect water, capitalizing on a few hours of electricity as the country reels from crippling power cuts. Let's get some context from this report.
The African country has long battled with outages, but the problem has sharply worsened since its main generator, a hydro plant at the giant Kariba Dam, began to struggle with low water levels caused by recurring droughts. Since last week, the authorities have been imposing up to 19 hours of cuts each day, usually turning on power between midnight and 5 a.m. The latest retch in Zimbabwe's power crisis began at the end of November, when the hydro plant in the Kariba Dam had to be switched off for lack of volume passing through its turbines, according to the Zambezi River Authority, which manages the water supply. The blackouts have wreaked havoc on small businesses, already battered by a nearly 2-decade-old economic downturn. The government has admitted the crisis is disrupting daily life. Senior government official Gloria Mangombe said on Tuesday that the country was importing electricity from neighboring South Africa, which is also suffering recurring power shortages due to old and poorly maintained plants. It is also supplementing supplies with imports from Mozambique and Zambia. Reporting for Primetime News, Prime Rose Hadasis.
On to the global economy. The United States dollar weakened in late trading on Wednesday, driven by concerns that the Federal Reserve's policy tightening could slide the economy into a recession. More from this insert.
The dollar index, which measures the greenback against 6 major peers, fell 0.45% to 105.100. In New York trading, the euros rose to $1.0515 from $1.0467 in the previous season. The British pound was up to $1.2215 US from $1.2142 in the previous season. The US dollars bought 136.32 Chinese yen, lower than 136.90 Chinese yen the previous season. The US dollars was down to 0.9396 Swiss francs from 0.9419 Swiss francs.
That's where the top news ends for this evening. Now, a look at what the weather has in store for us, but first, a quick look at the business and economics roundup. Welcome to Sport Planet. Our sports correspondent Marco Ndlovu is currently tracking the action for the 2022 African Union Sports Council Region 5 Games in Lilongwe, Malawi, and reports that Namibian swimmers' red-hot form continued on Wednesday as they claimed 4 more medals on the third and final day of the swimming competition. The last session, held at the indoor aquatic swimming pool at Kamuzu Institute for Sports in Lilongwe, Malawi, saw Reza Verstadun bag a silver medal in the 200-meter individual medley event, while Maya Brinkman captured bronze in the same event. Versteden was back to claim bronze medal in the 200-meter backstroke event before the day ended with jubilation for the relay team of Versteden, Trisha Mutumbula, Nicole Rediger and Jessica Humphrey when they won a bronze medal in the 4x100-meter medley relay. In total, Namibia finished fourth on the swimming competition log with 14 medals ahead of Angola with 6. Botswana, Malawi and the Seychelles all failed to win any medals during the competition. Credit goes to the Namibian team for putting the land of the brave on the map. Meanwhile, in boxing, Thomas Ishidimbo lost his semi-final tie against Siseko Taisa in a 4-1 majority decision, while Hubertus Richard suffered a 3-2 majority decision to Tsepo Makelele. Richard will feel hard done by the organizers, who selected 3 South African judges, all of whom gave the tie to his opponent, Makelele, while the Zambian and Malawian judges scored the tie in favor of the Namibian. Stand by for your sports roundup. With the sports news, we've come to the end of tonight's Primetime News. Much appreciated for watching. Do tune in tomorrow as we wrap up Primetime News for the year. From myself, Michael Madimba, and the entire production crew, it's good night.